The portal's mistake. The wind howled across the broken rocks of a forgotten land. Clouds hung low, heavy with dust, and the sky shimmered faintly with energy. Near a ruined stone arch, a sudden flash cracked the air. A ripple of blue light tore, opened the space between two worlds. A figure stumbled through the portal. She fell forward, bare, gasping for air. Her skin shimmered with a strange glow and her long silver hair clung to her shoulders. She hit the ground hard, coughing, dirt smearing her legs and arms. Naila, princess of the Karyana throne, had just escaped death. But something was wrong. This place, it wasn't her world. She lifted her head slowly, blinking against the harsh sunlight. Instead of soft crystal trees or floating islands, she saw cracked earth, smoke in the air, and twisted metal half buried in the sand. Then she heard a sound. Boots. A tall figure in dark armor stood only 10 feet away. His weapon was raised, a long barrel glowing with cold blue light. He was human, muscles tense, jaw set, and eyes wide with disbelief. Sergeant Rourke had seen many things during his years in war zones. But this? A naked alien girl falling out of a portal in the middle of a dead battlefield? This was new. His voice was steady, though unsure. Don't move. Naila didn't understand the words, but his tone made her freeze. She sat on her knees, arms crossing over her chest, eyes locked on the man with the weapon. Her whole body shook, not from cold, but from fear. This wasn't part of the plan. She was supposed to land in safety, in a hidden cave on her own planet. Not here. The portal shimmered behind her for just a moment longer, then snapped shut with a final spark of light. Rourke exhaled slowly and lowered his weapon just a little. His instincts told him she wasn't a threat. She was confused, scared, alone. He pulled off his outer cloak and tossed it toward her. She flinched, then grabbed it and wrapped it tightly around herself, her eyes never leaving his. What are you? Rourke muttered more to himself than to her. A buzzing came from his wrist communicator. Central Command was asking why his vitals had spiked. He answered quickly. I need extraction. Immediate. I found someone. Naila tried to stand, but wobbled. Rourke stepped forward to help, and she backed away fast, stumbling into a piece of sharp metal debris. Whoa, easy, he said, holding up both hands. He crouched slowly and offered her a small water pack. She stared at it, then looked at him, unsure. He took a sip to show it was safe, then handed it to her again. Hesitantly, she took it and drank. It tasted strange, but clean. A rumble rolled through the ground beneath them. Rourke stiffened. The ground didn't shake unless a drone carrier was nearby or something worse. Above them, the clouds twisted. A strange circular shimmer opened for just a second. Naila looked up and whispered something in her own language, the words soft and broken. Rourke didn't understand, but her face said enough. She was terrified. What is that? He asked, pointing up. She grabbed his arm, squeezing tight, and shook her head. More sounds echoed in the distance. This wasn't just a random portal accident. Something had followed her. Or worse, something had sent her here on purpose. Rourke made a choice. He tapped his communicator again. Change of plan. Sending full coordinates. We've got incoming. And she's not alone. He looked at her. You understand me at all? Naila blinked. Then slowly she placed one hand on her chest. Nay. La, she said softly. Naila, Rourke repeated. She pointed at him. Rook? She tried. Close enough. He nodded. A bond began to form in that moment. Fragile but growing. They were from different worlds, but both were caught in the middle of something bigger. Something dark. As the shadows thickened around them, and the sky continued to swirl, Rourke stepped in front of her, weapon raised again. Whatever was coming through next, it wouldn't find her defenseless. Not while he was still breathing. And deep inside the sand, something mechanical clicked to life. The code of protection, the wind carried a low hum across the desert field. Dust danced through the air as Rourke scanned the horizon, his rifle ready, his muscles tense. Naila stood behind him, gripping his cloak tightly around her body. Her wide eyes followed the sky as it shifted unnaturally above them. The portal had closed, but the danger was just beginning. Rourke's earpiece crackled. "Sergeant Rourke, extraction ETA 5 minutes. What's your situation?" "Unknown entity breached," he replied, eyes locked on the sky. "Civilian alien female. Unarmed. Possible pursuit from unknown force. Advise full lockdown protocol." A silence followed. Then, "Understood. Mobile shield dome incoming. Hold position." But Rourke knew 5 minutes could be too long. Suddenly, the earth groaned. Naila gasped and backed away as the sand in front of them split open. Something large, round, and metallic pushed itself out of the ground. It was shaped like an insect, but built of dark stone and glowing wires. 3 red eyes blinked to life. Rourke raised his weapon. "What the hell is that?" Naila spoke, her voice shaky. "Hunter. Drone. Assassin. From home." "It followed you?" She nodded, her eyes wet with fear. Rourke fired a warning shot at the drone. The bolt of plasma hit its shell but only left a scorch mark. The drone twisted its body unnaturally and scanned Rourke and Naila with sharp clicking sounds. Then it charged. Rourke pushed Naila to the ground and fired again, this time at its legs. The joint sparked, and the drone faltered, but didn't stop. It swung one of its blade arms toward Rourke. He ducked, rolled, and came up behind it. With a precise shot to the back of its neck, he hit the power node. The drone screamed, an unnatural screech of dying metal, and collapsed in pieces. Silence returned for a moment. Naila crawled to the broken drone and stared at its core. She whispered something in her language, something that sounded like a prayer or maybe a curse. "How many more?" Rourke asked. She looked up. "More come. Always more. Never one." Rourke helped her to her feet. Her legs were weak, but she managed. He could see the scars on her arms now, thin lines running like veins, glowing faintly blue. Not birthmarks, not tattoos. "What are those?" he asked. She hesitated, then whispered, "Royal blood. Portal key." Rourke blinked. "You opened the portal?" Naila nodded slowly. "Blood unlocks gate." Before he could ask more, a loud hum filled the air. A transport shuttle descended from the clouds, matte black, marked with the sigil of Earth's elite military science corps. Project Aegis. Rourke's face darkened. No, not them. The shuttle landed with a soft thud. The back hatch opened, and 2 men stepped out, one in armor, the other in a white coat. "Sergeant Rourke," the armored man greeted. "We're here for the alien. Command says she's to be taken to Facility 17 for examination." Naila stepped behind Rourke. "She's not a prisoner," Rourke replied, keeping his rifle lowered but ready. "She's under my protection. She's a refugee." The man in the lab coat smirked. "We don't care what you call her. She's classified now." "And dangerous." Rourke's eyes narrowed. "She's not the danger. What followed her is." "You don't have a choice," the soldier snapped. Rourke looked at Naila. Her eyes begged him not to let them take her. He turned back to the soldier. "I'm making one," he said coldly. For a tense second, no one moved. Then Rourke stepped back and fired a shot into the sand, kicking up a storm of dust. "Run!" he shouted to Naila. Without a second thought, she turned and sprinted across the field. Rourke covered her, firing into the ground, confusing the sensors of the other soldiers. The 2 men dove for cover as Rourke grabbed a signal jammer from his belt and smashed it onto the ground. The device released a pulse, scrambling nearby communications for 60 seconds. He took off after her. They didn't stop running until they reached the edge of an old mining cave. Inside, shadows danced on the walls, and ancient markings glowed softly in the dark. Rourke collapsed to one knee, breathing hard. Naila, still clutching the cloak around her, placed a hand on his shoulder. "You risk for me?" she said quietly. "I protect civilians," he replied. "Even alien ones." She looked at the glowing symbols on the cave wall. "This old place, sacred, not human, Not mine either. Rourke followed her gaze. Then what? Is it? She traced a circle on the stone. Warning. Says, if she passes through the wrong gate. The hunt begins. Rourke stood. We need answers. And I need to get you somewhere safe. Before they send more drones. Or worse. A soft chime came from deeper in the cave. Rourke and Nayla turned slowly. Another portal. But this one didn't look like the first. It pulsed black and red like a heartbeat. We're not going through that one, Rourke muttered, but Nayla's face had gone pale. They found us. The forgotten Rourke stepped in front of Nayla, raising his rifle toward the pulsing red and black portal. It wasn't like the one she had come through. This one moved unnaturally, like it was breathing. The air grew thick with heat. The walls of the cave groaned. Nayla backed up until she hit the rock behind her. That portal, and not made by my kind. Then who made it? Rourke asked, not taking his eyes off it. Nayla's voice dropped to a whisper. The forgotten. They come when worlds break the balance, when someone runs where they should not. So opening the portal brought them? No, she said. They were already watching. The portal only gave them a door. Before they could speak further, a figure stepped through the red portal. It wasn't a drone. It wasn't even fully solid. It looked like a man, but twisted, its body flickering between shapes. Metal and bone, cloak and shadow. 3 burning circles glowed in place of eyes. It moved without walking, floating just above the ground. Nayla dropped to her knees, hands over her face. Don't look in its eyes, she cried. They see everything you fear. But it was too late. Rourke's eyes locked with the creatures, and for 1 second he was somewhere else, in a ruined battlefield, humans dead around him. Nayla screaming his name, his hands, soaked in blood. His own or hers. He couldn't tell. He blinked hard and broke the gaze. The figure tilted its head, curious. Rourke fired. The plasma bolt passed through the figure like it was smoke. Damn it, Rourke growled. We can't fight it. Nayla stood up, trembling, and reached into her hair. Hidden deep in the strands was a tiny crystal, a memory shard. She slammed it against the cave wall. A flash lit the cave, revealing ancient glyphs that had been invisible before. Rourke stepped back. The whole cave began to glow. What did you do? He asked. This is a truth cave, she said. It shows who you really are, and who you were meant to be. The portal behind the shadow creature pulsed wildly. It screeched, almost as if it was in pain. Rourke watched as the glyphs formed a picture. It showed a man, a human, holding hands with a woman with glowing scars like Nayla. Together they opened a portal between 2 planets. Not to escape, but to unite. That's not me, Rourke whispered. Is it? Nayla looked at the image. It is, or it will be. Suddenly, the portal collapsed behind the shadow creature, sucking it back into the dark. The creature didn't resist. It vanished without a sound. The cave quieted, but the message had been given. You've been marked. They spent the night in the cave, silent, watching the glowing walls. Rourke finally asked, You said your blood opens portals. Does that mean someone can use you like a key? Nayla nodded. That's why they want me. Not to kill, but to use. A portal queen. Open gates for war, for invasion. And your people betrayed you for that? Her voice cracked. My sister, she made deal with a hidden race. Said I was weak, soft, but I'm the only one who can open the gates. Rourke reached into his bag and pulled out an old pendant, his lucky charm. It had a strange stone in the center, one he never understood. He had found it on his first off-world mission. Nayla gasped. Where did you get that? Some junk trader, he said. Years ago. Why? She took it and turned it over. This is royal crystal, she said. From my world. It bonds with soul. Only when destiny is close. The crystal pulsed, faintly blue in her hand, and then glowed brightly. You're not just soldier, she whispered. You were chosen. By something older than both our worlds. Rourke stared at her. What are you saying? Your kind was never supposed to be part of this war, but now you're in the center. He sat back, mind racing. Then we don't run, he said finally. We take the fight back. You know where this deal between your sister and that hidden race was made? Yes, she said slowly. But we can't go there. Why? It's dead space. No air, no life. Only the broken. Rourke smiled faintly. Then we'll bring life back. We'll bring war. As dawn rose, Rourke and Nayla left the cave. The air was cooler now, the sand still, but deep beneath their feet, the symbols of the cave still glowed, marking the path of two unlikely warriors. Above them, in the orbiting shadows of the Forgotten Watchers, a message was sent. Dead Space Whispers, the ship they used wasn't built for travel into dead space. It was a patched-together scavenger vessel, stolen from an abandoned outpost at the edge of human territory. The engine rattled with every burn, and the shields flickered when the stars outside blinked too fast. Rourke sat at the control panel, scanning the black ahead. Nothing moved. No light, no signals, not even the hum of background radiation. It was like the universe itself had forgotten this place existed. Nayla stood behind him, wrapped in a cloak now stitched together from scavenged thermal fiber. Her eyes stared out the viewport. Cold, unreadable. We're close, she said softly. Rourke didn't ask how she knew. She had that sense, like something ancient ran through her veins. Remind me, he said. What exactly are we looking for? The deal site, where my sister gave the Forgotten our bloodline seal. And we expect what? A throne? A battlefield? She shook her head. No, it will be a tomb. The ship beeped. Coordinates matched. They dropped from light stream speed and into a starless void. Floating in the center of it was a shattered ring. Giant, metallic, and ancient. Too large to be built by either humans or Nayla's people. Pieces drifted slowly, orbiting a hollow center filled with dark mist. Broken ships, some alien, some human, hung dead in space like bones in a frozen sea. Rourke narrowed his eyes. This is where the treaty happened? Nayla nodded. This was once a gateway world. Long ago, before the Forgotten sealed it shut, they docked near a fractured platform. The moment the airlock opened, Nayla staggered. Rourke caught her. You okay? The voices, she whispered. They remember me. They remember what happened. Inside the ruins, the walls were covered in strange writing, glyphs that shifted when you tried to read them. Lights pulsed like veins under the surface, responding to their presence. As they stepped deeper, holograms came to life, broken memories caught in the metal. One showed Nayla's sister standing before a dark figure cloaked in red mist. Behind her, chained in a cage of light, was a younger Nayla. Struggling, screaming, the figure handed over a blade made of obsidian, shaped like a key. She took my right, Nayla said, voice trembling. The right of choice. She used my blood to open the pact. Rourke clenched his fists. And she gave them access to your world. Not just mine, Nayla replied. Every world with royal blood connected to the gate network, even Earth. They reached the core chamber, a circular room filled with floating stones and blinking lights. In the center was a large stone table. On it, a heart, not a beating one, not a living one. A crystallized alien heart, split open and hollow inside. Nayla gasped, That's my father's. What? Rourke turned. They needed a royal's heart to bind the seal. My sister offered his. Rourke stepped closer to the table. His boots triggered a scan, and suddenly the room shifted. A voice echoed, ancient, deep and layered, human detected. Anomaly. Rourke's vision blurred. Suddenly he was floating. In his mind. watching images flash before him. He saw himself as a child, chosen during his first military test, a needle in his neck, a chip implanted that no one told him about. Strange dreams ever since. He saw Nayla being pulled from a tower, crying, screaming for a mother who was never there. He saw Earth's leaders talking to a shadow figure, trading something. Then he was back in the room gasping. "They've known," he said. "They've known all along." Nayla stared at him. "Earth's top brass made deals too," Rourke whispered. "They sold access to the gates. They planned for someone like you to fall into our hands, and they wanted me ready, to control." "You?" Nayla stepped back. "No. I didn't know," he shouted. "I swear. I thought I was just a soldier." She looked into his eyes and saw truth, his fear, his pain, the shame. "You didn't choose it," she whispered. "But now, you can choose what comes next." The chamber lights flared. "Seal compromised," the voice said. "Royal signature and human catalyst. Bond accepted." A glowing path opened beneath the floor, steps leading down, into the true core. Rourke and Nayla descended. At the bottom they found a sphere, hovering, humming. And inside it, a seed, glowing like a star. "This is the origin gate," Nayla breathed. "The first gate, the one all others were copied from." "Can it destroy the others?" Rourke asked. "No," she said, "but it can reset them. It can cut off all forgotten access. Every shadow they control. Gone." "So what's the catch?" Nayla looked at him. "We have to bond it, both of us. Our souls become the lock, and we can never be apart again. If one of us dies, the gates break open." Rourke stared at the seed. "You sure? Are you?" He took her hand. "After what we've seen, it's the only way." They stepped forward together. As they touched the sphere, light exploded around them. Their minds were pulled into a vast white space, where time didn't matter and every gate floated like stars around them. One by one, the dark ones blinked out. And far away, deep in the realm of the forgotten, something screamed. Something ancient, something angry. When Rourke and Nayla awoke, they were lying on the platform again. The ruins were quiet. The gates were still. "We did it," Rourke whispered. But Nayla looked at her hand. A symbol had burned into her skin, his too, a shared mark. "We are the lock," she said, and deep in her mind, she heard a whisper. The betrayal of stars. The journey back from dead space was quiet, too quiet. Rourke and Nayla sat side by side in the cramped cockpit of the scavenger ship, hands marked by the glowing bond they now shared. Their bond was more than skin deep. It pulsed through their bodies like a second heartbeat. The gates had been sealed, the forgotten pushed back, but something still felt wrong. Nayla kept staring into space, her silver eyes dark with worry. "The silence is too loud," she finally said. Rourke nodded. "They're waiting, regrouping, or watching." As their ship neared the edge of human territory, a message came through. "Unmarked vessel, identify yourself. You are entering controlled space. Land at Outpost Epsilon 7, immediately for debrief." Rourke cursed. "Epsilon 7, that's not right. That station was shut down last year." Nayla touched his arm. "They know we're coming. This is not a welcome." "Then we don't land," he said. But it was too late. A tractor beam locked onto their ship, pulling them in. They tried to fight it, but the scavenger's engines weren't strong enough. As the docking clamps closed around them, Rourke turned to Nayla. "Stay close. Don't say a word unless I tell you." Nayla nodded, but her fingers glowed faintly blue. She was ready to fight if she had to. The station was not empty. As the hatch opened, 10 armed guards stood waiting, and at the front of them, a face Rourke never expected to see, Major Lucas Quinn, his old commanding officer, the man who trained him, the man he once trusted with his life. "Rourke," Quinn said, smiling like an old friend. "You look tired." Quinn Rourke replied coldly. I thought you retired. I did. Then I was called back. Turns out the brass still needs me, especially now. His eyes shifted to Nayla. So, that's the girl. She has a name, Rourke said, stepping in front of her. Quinn raised his hands. Of course. And her name is the reason the High Council just offered me a promotion. Rourke narrowed his eyes. What are you talking about? Quinn walked forward slowly. You and her. You bonded with the Origin Gate. That wasn't supposed to happen. Then you shouldn't have sent me into war with a gate-coded implant, Rourke snapped. Quinn smirked. We didn't expect you to get that far. Nayla stiffened behind Rourke. They used you, she whispered. Quinn continued. We just needed you to stabilize the bond. Then she could be harvested, her blood, her soul. Both contain codes to control every gate. You were never the goal, Rourke. You were the ignition switch. Rourke raised his rifle, pointing it at Quinn's chest, but the guards didn't flinch. They had orders. They wouldn't hesitate. You'll have to kill me, Rourke said, before I let you take her. That's not the plan, Quinn said calmly. You're not enemies. You're national heroes. What? Quinn gestured to the wall. A screen lit up. News broadcasts from Earth. Headlines rolled across. Alien-human bond saves galaxy gates. Sergeant Rourke and Princess Nayela hailed as peacekeepers. Galactic unity through shared sacrifice. Rourke blinked. They're using us. Quinn nodded. Of course, you're a symbol now. The people adore you, which is why you're going to do exactly what we say. And if we don't? Quinn's smile faded. Then your accidental death will cause a galaxy-wide panic, and we'll just use your genetic backups for the next experiment. Nayla stepped forward, her hands flared blue. You will not cage me again, she said coldly. Not with chains, not with lies. Quinn's eyes narrowed. You misunderstand. No one's caging you. We're simply offering you purpose. Imagine it. No more wars. You open a gate, we place peacekeepers. You bond new leaders, we stabilize worlds. Slavery, Rourke said. Wrapped in golden words, Quinn's voice hardened. Then what do you suggest? Let chaos return? Let the forgotten regain control? Rourke slowly lowered his weapon, but his jaw was tight. Give us time, he said. Let us return to Earth, speak our truth. If the people believe us, they won't let you use us. Quinn nodded slowly. You have 5 hours. You'll be monitored. Any trick, any escape, you're both terminated. Back in their assigned quarters, Nayela paced the room. We cannot stay here. They mean to cut us open, body or mind. I know, Rourke said, but we need proof. Something to show the public what they're really doing. Nayla paused. The shard. What? The memory shard. I saved one from the truth cave. It can show images, if connected to your implant. Rourke nodded. Do it. She placed the small crystal at the back of his neck. It melted into his skin like mist. His eyes flashed. Images poured into him. Visions of Quinn's meetings with secret shadow leaders, of human and forgotten hands shaking in darkness, of entire populations moved like pieces on a board. We upload this, he said, and the game ends. But the moment he tried to connect to the network, the door exploded. Guards stormed in. Drop it, one shouted. Too late. Nayla sent a pulse of energy through the floor, knocking the guards back. Rourke and Nayla ran into the maintenance shafts. Sirens wailed. Red lights flashed. How do we escape this time? She shouted. We don't, Rourke said. What? We expose them now. Live. Open broadcast. They reached the old communication hub. Rourke jammed the emergency signal through the remaining data line. He pressed the shard to the console. Across human space. Every screen blinked. Every world saw Quinn's betrayal. Every species saw the truth. And far beyond, in a forgotten sector, something darker stirred. A voice whispered, "The locks are cracking, and now even the betrayers will bleed." The rise of the Forsaken across 1,000 screens on 100 worlds. The broadcast played. The memory shard's raw truth spread, like wildfire, from high-level generals to dirt-poor miners on asteroid colonies. Everyone saw the real face of Project Aegis. Everyone saw what Quinn and the Human Council had planned, to enslave a living alien being and her bonded human guardian. All for power. Cities erupted in protest, military outposts shut down, their soldiers refusing orders. Alien ambassadors broke off ties. Rourke and Nyela had become more than fugitives. They were symbols of rebellion. But not all the watchers of the broadcast were human, or alive. Deep in the forgotten zone, a place no signal should reach, the last remnants of a long-dead empire stirred, and the Forsaken, those banished from the Gate network long before the rise of Nayla's people, opened their eyes. Aboard a stolen scout vessel, Rourke piloted them through the upper orbit of a neutral moon. Nayla stood beside him, wrapped in a deep black cloak to hide her glow. Her hair was tied back now, her face harder, sharper. She had changed. They both had. "Do you think it worked?" she asked softly. Rourke didn't look at her. "Yes. Too well. We've made the Council our enemy. We've exposed secrets no one wanted revealed. We broke the lock. Now the vault's wide open." "Good," she said. "Let the truth burn." But as she spoke, the ship's alarm buzzed. Incoming transmission. Rourke narrowed his eyes. Encrypted, but not military code. Civilian? He tapped the console. The screen flickered, then showed the face of a young alien woman with green eyes and golden skin. "I'm Ambassador Sela of the Krelin Resistance," she said quickly. "We saw your broadcast. We believe you, and we're ready to help, but you need to come fast." "Why?" Nayla asked. Sela leaned in. "Because the Forsaken just woke up and they're hunting everyone with gate-touched blood." Nyela's hand flew to the glowing mark on her wrist. Rourke's face darkened. "Send your coordinates, we're coming." They landed in the underground city of Tor Vela, a hidden base carved inside a broken moon. Sela greeted them at the dock, flanked by Krelin guards and refugees from dozens of species. The city buzzed with fear. "We've picked up movement from dead sectors," Sela explained as they walked. "Ships that haven't moved in centuries, suddenly active. Patterns suggest an organized fleet." "Who's controlling them?" Rourke asked. Sela's expression turned grim. "Not human, not forgotten, something worse." They entered a round chamber filled with gate relics, old tech, and an enormous ancient map of the galaxy. "The Forsaken were once part of the Gate creators," Sela said, "but they were too violent, too hungry for domination. They tried to bind entire planets to their will using soulmark tech." Nayla froze. "That's what I have." Sela nodded. "Yours is a purified version, limited. But the Forsaken used the full version. It destroyed worlds." Rourke stepped forward. "So what do they want now?" Sela pointed to the center of the map. "They want the origin gate, the same one you sealed." Nayla's face paled. "They want to unbind us." "Yes," Sela said. "If they succeed, every gate reopens. They'll sweep across the galaxy, like they did in the first cycle, and nothing will stop them this time." Rourke clenched his fists. "Then we stop them first." "How?" Sela asked. "You're two people. They are many." "We start with one ship," he said. "And one message. If the Forsaken want war, we'll give them fire." A plan was made. Nayla and Rourke would travel to the Veil of Memories, an ancient place known to echo gate frequencies. It was the only location where they could send a final signal to reinforce their soul lock. But the Forsaken were already watching. Their ship, the Shade of Morning, was a black monster of metal and bone. It moved without sound, and it carried no crew, only living shadows, bound in armor. As Rourke and Nayela's ship neared the Veil, the shadows struck. A jolt threw them from their seats. "They found us," Rourke shouted. Outside, the stars seemed to vanish behind a black wall. Nayela rushed to the energy matrix. "If they disrupt our bond, even for a moment, the lock fails." Rourke ran to the weapons panel. "Then we fight." But their blasters did nothing. Every bolt passed through the shadows like wind. the shadows, entered the ship through the vents, silent, slow. Rourke fired into the darkness, but the creatures didn't bleed. They absorbed light, bent space, and whispered things that turned his mind cold. Nayla screamed as one touched her. Visions of her father's death, her sister's betrayal, a future where she ruled nothing but ash. But Rourke grabbed her hand. "Don't. Look," he shouted. "Remember who you are." Their bond pulsed, blue and white light bursting from their linked palms. The shadows hissed. Then the ship's emergency core overheated. "We need to jump," Rourke yelled. "To where?" Nayela asked. "Anywhere but here." He slammed the emergency gate drive. The ship cracked through space and vanished, leaving behind a trail of burning light. They landed, barely alive, on a quiet jungle planet. No tech, no signals, just wind and trees. But they were alive. Rourke coughed, helping Nayela sit up. "You okay?" She nodded. The bond held, but just barely. They looked at the stars above, and both knew this was only the beginning. The Forsaken were real, and they were coming. The final gate. The jungle was calm. Too calm. Nayla sat beside a stream, her cloak wet from the rain. Her body still shook from the last attack. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the shadows. The Forsaken, reaching inside her mind, twisting her thoughts. She wasn't sure how much longer she could hold the bond. Rourke sat nearby, checking their damaged gear. The emergency gate drive had fried. No comms, no tracking, no weapons. They were alone. But they had one thing left: hope. "If we don't send the lock reinforcement signal soon," Nayla said quietly, "they'll find the origin gate again. And if they touch it, then everything we fought for is gone," Rourke finished. He stood and offered his hand. She took it, and together they began their journey toward the heart of the jungle, where an ancient gate marker was rumored to exist. One last chance to anchor their bond across the galaxy. 2 days later, they reached the ruins. Massive stone towers reached into the clouds, glowing roots wrapped around them, pulsing faintly with old energy. In the center stood a circle, half buried, half alive, with alien writing older than any civilization known. "This is it," Nayla whispered. The Forgotten called it the final gate. Not a portal, not a machine, a decision point. Rourke stepped closer. "What do we do?" Nayla looked at the center of the ring. "We go in together. It will test us. If we pass, the bond will spread across all active gates. If we fail, they win," Rourke said. She nodded. Without another word, they stepped into the ring. The world vanished. They found themselves floating in a white void. Silence wrapped around them. Then one by one scenes appeared. Rourke stood before a burning earth, humans screaming, aliens enslaved. His own face shone on banners. The betrayer. "This is a lie," he growled. A voice echoed, "Is it? Would you trade her life to save your people?" Rourke didn't answer. He looked at Nayla. Then the scene changed. Nayla stood before a throne. Her sister knelt in chains. Behind her, millions of her kind waited. "You can be queen," the voice whispered, "but only if you cut him loose." Nayla didn't move. "He's just a soldier," the voice tempted. "Your bloodline is eternal. He will die. You will rule." But she stepped down from the throne and walked to Rourke. "We choose each other," she said. The void shook. Cracks formed in the air around them. The voice screamed, "Then you both shall die with your choice." Outside, in the real world, the sky above the ruins split open. A massive, forsaken dreadship dropped through, blocking the clouds, casting a shadow over the jungle. Dozens of black figures descended, like living nightmares. They rushed the ruins. Rourke and Nayela stumbled out of the gate circle, gasping. Blood trickled from their noses, their bond burning brighter than ever. "We passed," Rourke said. "But they came anyway," Nayela replied. The ruins trembled. From the dreadship, a final figure dropped, twice as tall as the others. cloaked in living mist with eyes that burned silver, the herald of the Forsaken. It spoke with 1,000 voices. You were meant to be consumed, not chosen. You broke the seal. Now we will unmake you. Nayla stood firm. I am not yours to unmake. Rourke raised his weapon. You'll have to go through me. Gladly, the herald replied. The battle began. The jungle exploded with light and chaos. Rourke fired plasma bolts, dodging shadows, using every trick he'd learned. Nayla moved like lightning, throwing energy from her hands, cutting down enemies with glowing arcs. But they were outnumbered. The herald advanced, unfazed by their attacks. With a sweep of its hand, it sent Rourke flying across the ruins, crashing into stone. Nayla screamed and ran to him, but the herald blocked her path. Watch him die, then you'll beg to serve us. Nayla's hands glowed brighter than ever. Her scars lit up. The mark on her wrist turned gold. She screamed, not in fear but fury, and hurled all her energy at the herald. A burst of light engulfed the ruins. The jungle went still. When the light faded, the herald was gone, erased from existence. Nayla dropped to her knees beside Rourke. Stay with me, she begged. His eyes fluttered open. Still here, you throw a good punch. She laughed through her tears. Weeks passed. The bond was now permanent, etched into galactic code. The gates had stabilized. The Forsaken had vanished. But Rourke and Nayla chose to disappear. No throne, no medals, no parades. They traveled from world to world, helping quietly, fixing what was broken. And somewhere, deep in the stars, the gate pulsed softly, not as a warning, but as a promise.